Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
And this is Aaron, I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
And welcome back. Let's see, what should we do first today? Anybody working on any fun hobby projects?
Not I.
Not I.
I am engaging lots of painters all over the world in various projects. Eventually, I'm getting some MCP backs from Richard. I want to play all of the Weapon X models, specifically Maverick. I really want to try Maverick again. I don't know if I'm going to do it in Weapon X, but I'm excited to try that. Jake has my Judgment stuff, some more Judgment stuff that I'm getting pretty soon. I fell in love with Ista at Melee for Midian, and I acquired a effigy, the big effigy model, the Ista one, from Josh, since he won a starter kit and he already had one, and so I asked him if I could buy it, and he refused to take my money. So thank you, listener Josh. He gave me an Ista, so now I've got Ista effigy and more Judgment models in Ista that I'm sending him. So I've got also Jeremy is also got one of my Judgment models. He said he's willing to paint. So
Ooh.
I've got 3 humans engaged in hobby projects for me, and I've got money sending out in all directions, and hopefully they come back with models.
Parker, I believe they call that a sweatshop.
No. Sweatshops pay less. I'm paying good money, I think.
That's all relative.
No, this is just good outsourcing. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a business term for what I'm doing, like
delegation.
Yeah, somehow like fanning out production to multiple places so it happens faster. I'm sure there's some buzzword that explains what I'm doing, but
it's like a multi-level marketing campaign.
If you were to draw it,
painting at multiple levels.
No, it's not a pyramid scheme, because if you
see,
draw
there's you at the top, and then there's a guy beneath you and a guy next to him, and then beneath that they each delegate their painting to 3 different people.
Yeah, and see, if you draw a shape around that, you get a
funnel system.
I gotta make a phone call.
Okay. I have to call my bank.
Yeah.
So, well, while we're on the topic of Judgment, I want to say thank you to Aaron. 2 things. First, for running Melee at Midian. Good job. And second, thanks for leaving me one of the army trays. That was very nice of you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Melee for Midian was a blast. I talked a little bit of... We got to talk about it on the Judgment cast. I was able to talk about content for the week. But on the cast, I mentioned that we had people come from far-flung Canada and the Northwest, and one of the folks, his name was also Aaron, he came from Seattle, and he had never once traveled for a Judgment event ever. This was his first one. And
he flew halfway across the country to go to Shawnee, Kansas.
He did, and he loved it. Afterwards, after everyone had gone, I was the last Infamous person still there. We were just talking. He was like, I had a really great time this weekend. And he said, I definitely want to come back. And I said, oh, you are excited to travel now? He says, yeah, maybe. And I said, tried to sell him about Adepticon, tried to sell him on War for a Weekend, all these other, big events. He's like, no, I just want to come back here. This is what I want.
Yeah, I'm just going to come back to the geekery.
Yeah, I just want to come back here. This was better. And I was like, okay, great. So, somebody who had never traveled before thought that event was the one he wants to spend his time and money on, which is super cool.
Mm. So, Parker, since you were the last one there, did you see where Aaron left my army tray?
No, I don't look at anything when I leave rooms. Okay. You should know this.
That makes sense.
I've left so much shit at the.
It was just like in the middle of one of the tables with a little paper bag sitting on top of it with Parker's name written on it.
That's not what it says. That's not true. That's not true, is it?
It's very true.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The bag happened to have a lot of things inside, like I think it was Tomas tracker boards and some Tauren fate tokens and some chibi monsters.
Did I leave all of my shit at the store?
No. Definitely Aaron left me a goodie bag and an army tray. That's definitely what happened.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. Because
definitely not all of the stuff that Parker paid for.
I literally just said I leave so much shit at the geekery. So now I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm sensing that I did that again. Live on this cast.
I am very appreciative of this gracious gift that Aaron gave me, but I could be convinced to pay it forward and give it to somebody else for the right price.
Okay. Pay it forward
'Cause
for the right
I'm
price.
a very gracious person.
Is that how that works? I will pay it
Well,
forward.
Aaron went through a lot of trouble to leave me all these goodies,
He
so
did.
it's only fair that I get reciprocated.
He did. Price support for the event was awesome. So awesome, in fact, I hid it from myself.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Parker.
Yeah. I'm so
Parker
good.
always pays stuff forward by giving his stuff to random people in the future.
Yeah. Whoever can find my corpse will get my gold.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of stuff got left behind. I believe it was Sneezy, I think his name is. I think he left a set of like rings behind, and then some of the Omaha guys left some stuff. There was a lot of leftover things. Somebody left a bunch of paint. I don't know what that was all about.
I'm unaware.
Yeah, we're trying to track everybody down. All right, so back to hobby projects. I'm probably going to start painting my Steel Rift this weekend. Hopefully that goes well. I haven't really decided on a paint scheme for me yet. I just know that they're going to be red plus some stuff.
Are you thinking like red and white or like...
No, definitely not white.
Okay.
Probably like red and black, but not a lot of black, just a little bit. And then I don't know what else. Maybe I'll throw some more color on there. Maybe some yellow. I don't know.
The models are going to look so cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to play it, actually. I watched some Malediction this weekend. I actually watched like a whole demo game between the Muse guys and Kenny. And I decided that the aesthetic is cool, but I don't know if I could even play it seriously as even like a beer and pretzels game. I feel like it's what's the best way to put it? It's really fast, and the actual gameplay is really fast, and it didn't look very satisfying. Does that make sense? Like, kind of, it looks like it's over before it's begun. That was my take from the outside. I probably need to play it to get an actual, feel in my hands, feel its girth, to really feel how weighty it is. But it looked like the kind of game you set, to take, half an hour to set up and 15 minutes to play is kind of what it looked like. So we'll see if I'm wrong. But because like with a card, because it really did look a lot like a card game. They made the minis part small and easy enough that so that the card part is still kind of, it feels important, but you have to set up all the minis stuff like you're playing a miniatures game. So it would be like if you told someone they can play, a single game of Magic, but they had to set up terrain first.
You had to actually physically set up the monsters you summon and then move them around and attack each other.
They usually be like this. It's like, it's not cool. Like, it's not bad. It's just, couldn't I just play Magic? It would be much faster. We could play 3 games in the time it takes us to play this one.
So I love the look on Aaron's face as Parker just lists every selling point of the game as a negative. It's fucking great. Parker's like, yeah. Then they decide to add models to it, and you move them around and attack each other in 3D space. And Aaron's kind of like nodding inquisitively, and then he's like, "Yeah, that sucks." It's great.
I'm not going to sing the game's praises without many more games, but I definitely don't think it is too short with respect to the setup versus playtime.
Okay.
I think that may have been a demo anomaly.
Yeah.
Like, the setup is literally three pieces of terrain each and you're done.
Yeah, like setting up the board didn't look complicated.
Once you understand how to do it, right? But when you're like, okay, step 1, do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it would take about as long to set a game of Malediction up as it does to set up a game of MCP.
Okay.
The terrain.
Yep.
Not the deployment phase, just setting up the terrain should be incredibly easy.
Yeah, I would agree with that based on what I saw. But that being said, if you're including cards and terrain and models and dice and maybe other like scenario element stuff, I'm not sure about the game at all, but each one of those layers increases the logistics needed. And so I could see the daunting of like, well, I have to carry a deck of cards around, I have to carry sleeves, I have to carry tokens, I have to carry dice, I have to carry the terrain, I have to carry the models, like adding all of that together, because a lot of miniatures transport isn't also designed to carry cards, which is something we initially experienced in War Machine back in the day. Having spaces for your cards was always something extra, and so now most games do have the card storage, but I don't think they're really intended to carry a whole deck with you. Yeah, it's just another layer.
I also think it's interesting that from what I can tell, and maybe I'm wrong, it looks like when you pick your faction, you also pick your terrain. Like you bring your own
Yep.
terrain.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw that was a feature, I was like, I love that, because that was one of my favorite parts of X-Wing, is that you had this little terrain collection you picked from your terrain collection, and it actually mattered. Like you could make interesting choices just with the terrain you brought to add to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But with X-Wing, the pieces of terrain were, they all fit in the palm of your hand. They were very
Yeah.
small. But these things are fucking huge. So I'm just like, this would be another cumbersome kind of thing, right? So again, I'm not gonna, like you said, the fact that they were playing a demo and constantly looking at the rules and constantly guessing and wondering. So there was a lot of things that slowed the game down. So they played a card, and then there was 5 minutes around playing that card to make sure they played the card right. So that probably won't happen later, and it will be much more efficient to do everything. But
it's funny that the way you were describing it was actually selling me on the game, as you were like, oh, the minis part was like really quick, and I'm like, that's great. like it means it's efficient. But
well, I guess so I started out with, like, I'm excited to play Steel Rift because I felt like you and I learned everything you need to learn about playing Steel Rift in that demo really fast. You're just like, because everything is super clean and efficient, and really obvious. So the intricate part is the building your individual mechs and the list. There's a lot of intricacy there, so I think that's really cool. I like that once your minis are on the board, they play, and before you even get to the game store, that's when you spend time and effort. So I think it's
that was initially where I was with it too. But then the more I look into it, it looks like there's actually a lot more complex stuff like behind it that they didn't show us in the demo.
Okay,
but
maybe
I'm very very excited to start playing. Have you guys ever played 7 Days to Die?
No.
Are you familiar with a game called Rust?
Yes.
No.
So Rust is a first-person shooter game that's based on, I think it's the Arma 3 engine. It's basically just open world, like first-person shooter base game frame that they built a lot of games on. So like the Unreal Engine for Unreal Tournament was used for a lot of first-person shooters for a long time. But specifically this one is designed to allow you to interact with basically everything. And so, like, you can dig a hole in the ground, you can cut down trees, you can break terrain, you can build terrain, all that kind of stuff is, like, built into it. So it's kind of like Minecraft with realistic graphics. And then 7 Days to Die is built on that similar engine, and it's just that, but zombie survival. And so you'll wander around, you'll scavenge things, you can make recipes for stuff. So like, hey, I want to make this loaf of cornbread. Well, you have to go get the ingredients for the cornbread and then make it on like a stove. And so, but meanwhile, zombies are trying to kill you. So that's probably outside the realm of what you can do initially. And you have to go like just eat rotten flesh and shit at the beginning. It's like, poison yourself and maybe die from it.
Like you do.
Yeah, and like you have to start building everything from scratch. Like you start off with a wooden club, and then you can build up to like a spear or an axe, and like maybe get a bow and arrow later, and then eventually build up to like firearms. And so, but specifically the kitsch of the game is on day 7, there's like a horde comes after you. So every 7th day, there's a big wave of zombies you have to survive. And because everything's destroyable, they can like claw their way through walls to get to you. So there is nowhere you can get in the game that's truly safe. Like, there was one time I had an underground base, and they literally dug down into the base, and zombies start pouring in through the roof. You're like, God damn it! Like, now I have to fix all this, and like, it's a whole fucking thing. But yeah, and so I played that. I got home on Tuesday. I was like, I have a little bit of free time, and I don't want to mess with fixing my printers, and so I logged into that, and then suddenly it was 6 a.m., and so I was like, well, shit. Like, I guess it's time to go to sleep.
Or not.
Mm-hmm. I did. I went to bed. But yeah. So that's kind of what I played recently. You guys played anything fun lately other than Path of Exile?
Oh, other than.
Got him. Fucking got him.
I fucking had to work this whole week. I did adulting shit all week long.
Gross.
I no longer have a sidewalk to my front door. It just got ripped out, along with a 300-foot drainage ditch around my house. I'm just hopeful it all works out when they're done with it.
Wait, I'll say, you're doing this, or you're watching
God,
people
no.
do this?
I'm watching a friend do it, which is a little awkward. He's being paid. But I come out in my sweats and coffee, being like, are you sure it's away from the house enough? He's got this huge trench he's dug. I'm just Monday morning quarterbacking everything he's doing.
Mm.
But no, I had to mulch our entire side yard in our back, which we hadn't done in probably 5 years. Because why? Like, I don't care, but my wife does. Because our daughter's having a big high school graduation party, and she wants everything looking perfect for it. So it's the entire reason we're doing our walkway. Anyway, so I got to deal with a lot of that this week.
High school graduation parties. Super cool.
Yep. To have my garage doors fixed. That was not fun. Nor easy, because no one in town does it.
Oh, you gotta do
Did
that
you
yourself?
outsource it to, what was it, India?
I ended up telling them they could not come over anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And went with an actual company in Kansas City. But they came on Monday and did it, and I want to say I made the guy's day, but I just kept him company in the garage. You know, people who spend their entire day working on people's equipment. He was the kind of person that I could tell was really happy to have someone to talk to while they worked. So
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
and then I'm a big, very, very amateur DIYer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like calling people unless I have to. I was very glad I called someone to take care of the garage door. Because
Yeah, garage doors are serious business. Those things could kill you.
Yeah, but what really got me was when he had using the acetylene torch to start cutting down the torsion spring to the correct size.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yep, good thing, because I don't know, one of those I probably would have cut it the wrong spot. Blah 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 blah.
That's funny.
So yeah, the first 3 days of this weekend or week, as soon as I got back from running Melee for Medium, was all adulting stuff. It's okay. Now we're done adulting. My wife's in the Caribbean for a week, and I can just relax at home and play Path of Exile and pretend I don't have kids.
Is she there for work? What's
No.
going on? She just took a vacation without you.
Yeah, is that okay?
That's great.
Not by herself. She went with family.
Yeah. She has some very wealthy cousins.
Ooh.
Occasionally, they invite my wife and her sister along when they feel like slumming it with the poverty stricken.
With the riffraff.
Yeah.
Make them stay in steerage while they go in the first class.
What she does when she leaves the house, I don't care. She'll come back in a week and she'll be happy or she won't.
She'll be happy or she won't. That is true. Those are the only two outcomes.
Yeah.
I have been playing a video game with every spare moment since it was about 2 or 3 weeks. I've logged about 80 hours into Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm not hitting Aaron numbers even close, but that's really just because I don't have Aaron time. If I did have Aaron time, I think I would have destroyed the game already and got every achievement and probably called it good by now, because every time I turn it on, I struggle to turn it off. I really have to fall unconscious for it to turn off. But it's so good. I absolutely love it. It doesn't break the Assassin's Creed formula that much, but they did a fantastic job of skinning it with Sengoku Jidai era Japanese, lore and historical moments and the places. Every Assassin game, they do a very thorough job making sure that things look as authentic as they should in an action RPG, set in a historical time. It just feels so cool to be a samurai or a ninja at will. You just change whenever you want to, and weave in Assassin's Creed themes and stuff like that into it. It's so much fun. It's also it's a return to its RPG roots. So there's a lot of item hunting and stat following and talent tree building. There's tons of talent trees in this one. So there is a lot of nuance to the game. I only have one critique, and that is they give you so many resources if you're willing to pay, if you're willing to play for it, that you really become king shit. Like eventually, at this point in the game, I can be killed because health values are low, but if I swing my sword, it just dies because
you've upgraded your weapons to a crazy point.
Well, yeah, upgraded the weapons to just the point I'm at. They're not even a super strong legendary nonsense. I'm not an idiot, and so I put the correct perks on the things, and I chose weapons that are good for what I'm doing. But they also give you infinite points to put into your mastery trees, your tech trees.
Oh, okay.
And
so when you say resources, you don't mean money. You mean skill points.
Yeah, skill points. They're just there's they give you so many, it's kind of insane. In fact,
Is it like doing like side quests and stuff? You
Yeah.
get bonus points.
Yeah.
Okay.
so if you're just
So you're
rolling-
you're just completing the game, and
Right.
by not speed running it, basically you get advantage.
Yes. And I am taking my time. I want to explore the whole world. I want to see all the side quests. Assassin's Creed does a great job with writing characters and stuff. And so I love meeting every little side quest character because a lot of them are characters from history, or they're Japanese lore related, or they're just good little stories that don't have an analog in history, but they're just well written. And so it is fun to do all the side quests. I'm specifically not finishing the main story so that I can do all the side quest stuff. But because of that, as a lot happens with a lot of RPGs, you go back to the starting zone or whatever with your level 104 character and just start smushing everything around you because you accidentally leveled up all the way, basically, because you did all the cool side stuff. So it makes the actual story pretty trivial. But in terms of difficulty and challenge, the one thing I do like about the game is that samurai swords just kill you. So if your opponent starts swinging samurai swords into you, you die. Everything kills you. You just have to build well enough to kill them first, which makes sense, right? It's a samurai game. That's kind of the way combat worked back then. Who got cut first was the winner. It wasn't like medieval combat where it was who can jostle around and find chinks in armor. And
you said it backwards, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, medieval European combat. I mean,
no, you said whoever gets cut wins, but yeah.
Yes. No, sorry. Whoever
I think everybody did.
Yeah, whoever gets cut loses.
Everyone knows what you meant.
Yeah,
we got it. Well, Aaron, anything other than Path going on and rebuilding your house?
Nope.
No other games you're interested in?
Not at the moment. I'm gonna guess I have about another week and a half to 2 weeks left on Path before I turn my attention elsewhere until the next Path patch. I've got Blood Bowl this weekend, daughter's graduation. So I still have stuff going on, but nothing holding my attention.
Cool.
What about you?
Well, I was at the game store yesterday, because I work there. But guess what game I was watching and mildly interested in, Parker?
What could this be? Mildly interested in a game that
He's never gonna get it. It's gonna be great.
Was it Netrunner? Maybe I'm just gonna say Netrunner.
It was definitely not Netrunner.
Okay, I just saying.
That's a name I haven't heard.
Yeah.
Is it made by Games Workshop?
No.
Okay. I know Flesh and Blood's on Thursdays. Is it a
solid,
minis
yes.
game?
It is.
Ooh, a minis game not made by GW that was being played at the game store on Monday.
Tuesday, but yes.
Okay.
I doubt either of you would know the difference. You don't really come up on Tuesdays. Which is why it's the best kept secret.
Not made by Games Workshop. I just ran through like 5 examples and I had to disqualify them all because they're all made by
Wait,
Games
that's
Workshop.
GW as well.
I'm giving up. I don't know.
It was Flames of War.
Oh, you do appreciate you some Flames of War.
I do. I like the smaller scale games. It's obviously just easier to paint, and you're able to have a larger scale force for that reason without like it being exorbitantly expensive. But yeah, I was just watching we have a historical wargamer group, which oddly is a bunch of very retired veterans that just kind of hang out and then shoot the shit and talk about old war stories while they play, and they're a bunch of chill guys. And so yeah, I was just chatting with them again, like I usually do on Tuesdays. But I was just watching them play, and it just reminded me of when I used to play Flames of War way back when. And the game has basically not changed, which is the funny part. Like I'm like they're playing, I'm like, yep, that's how that used to work. Yep, that's how that used to work. It's just all the same shit.
I was gonna say, has there ever been a new edition for it? Probably not. Right?
Oh yeah, they're on like the 4th edition of the game
really?
now.
Wow. Okay.
Because when I played, it was 2nd edition, which is mostly just rules cleanup. And then I quit when they were moving to 3rd, I believe. Or maybe I was playing in 1st edition and I quit when they moved to 2nd. But I know there was a transition period when they basically tried to make the game more like 40K. Because it was already very similar to 40K. It was very, like, if you knew how to play 40K, you could walk into Flames of War, no trouble. And because, like, models move 6 inches. It's move, shoot, assault phases. A whole army activation like normal. There's like leaderships and panic checks, and you have squad coherency, stuff like that, side armor, all kinds of that stuff. It's very similar, but the way they approach it is much more elegant, in my opinion. So the big difference is where everything has an armor save. So all infantry has a 3+ armor save, just flat. And it's to represent that, did you achieve enough damage to eliminate the squad? Because an infantry model is a infantry stand of 4 to 6 models. And so it's 4 to 6 models that are like combat effective. So it's like, yeah, you hit them and dealt some damage, but did you take enough of them out of action to eliminate the team?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you're rolling the save for. And then you can upgrade like weapon attachments for units where it's like, oh, I'm going to buy a bazooka for my American infantry squad. And then like you'll buy a platoon. It's much like the Imperial Guard army building where it's like, well, a platoon is a command squad and like 4 infantry stands. And then you can buy increments of 4 infantry stands, then add like bazooka teams to them and all kinds of other stuff. When you shoot at armor, they roll a d6 for their armor save, but they add it to their armor value. So let's say a Sherman is front armor 6. Then you get shot, you roll another d6 and you add that to your armor for each shot individually. And then you compare that to the anti-tank power of whatever gun is shooting you. So let's say like a Tiger is like power 14 or 16. Well, it doesn't matter if you save because, it's going to punch right through. Then the gun that shot you, if it penetrates your armor, makes a firepower test to destroy you. And if they fail, then you just get penetrated and there's like a negative effect. Like your crew gets bailed out and your tank is not effective for a turn.
Let's all just pretend you didn't say the word penetrated and move forward.
I will not.
Okay, now I'm going to say something that's highly controversial. If you told me I could play that game you just described with epic-sized 40K figures, I think the game's just better, right? Because this is my personal opinion.
So are Gothic sci-fi minis better than historical minis?
Yeah.
Probably, sure. Like, yeah. I'm not directly against that.
Because I've often wondered, I remember seeing Epic a long, long time ago, the Warhammer Epic scale, and being so... Wait, go ahead.
Sector Imperialis is what it's called now.
Okay. But I just remember loving that idea, right? I thought it was a super cool idea that you could see like the super heavy tanks and the fighters, the even the Titans, or the small ones at least, sometimes even the bigger ones. Like, I thought that was super cool to play 40K on that scale, because the text, a lot of the canon of 40K is that scale. It's usually not the like squad to squad scale you see on the board. It's actually more of the giant, insano, wide scale combat. Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be really cool. I thought it would be, as soon as I saw people playing things like Flames of War and enjoying it, I was like, wow, if you just picked up that stand of, Grenadiers and just put down, an Eldar striking scorpions, I probably would really enjoy this. I would probably think this is super fun.
I can see that. So the perspective of 40K is all that matters. So when you're playing Sector Imperialis or Epic or any large-scale 40K game like Apocalypse, you're just representing the true battle that's happening. Because when you play 40K and you have like a whole, like I've got Gilliman and like 30 Ultramarines, like that's not the battle. That's a zoomed in section of the battle.
Right.
There's a lot of other shit going on the flanks that you can't see. And so that's just the perspective you have. Even a kill team, like if you think of like games of 40K you've seen in the past where there's like 2 units duking it out on a flank and nobody's really helping them, that's just the perspective of kill team. You're just zooming in on that particular combat. Mm-hmm. And so it's just what scale, because you wouldn't see Gilliman and a Land Raider and Marinus Calgar and all this other stuff deployed in a skirmish. Like, it just wouldn't happen.
Right.
Like, they're busy doing stuff. The only reason they see the battle is when it's absolutely necessary.
And see, I guess what I'm saying is, I like the aesthetic of Kill Team, where it's just like 6 individual characters that have some nuance, probably some character, literally, like you made some role-playing or game choices to make them a little bit different from each other. I like that look. That's the, Dirty Dozen kind of thing, the Magnificent Seven, right? Everyone has some character. I like that scale, and I like the epic scale, right?
Massive,
2 giant, waves of battle lines slowly, crushing against each other, pushing back and forth. I love those two ideas. And so that's one of the reasons why Flames of War did interest me, because it kind of went up to that scale. But looking at those little guys in like desert fatigues and little black battle helmets, I'm just like, nah. I'm just I'm not excited. The tanks are a little bit more like aesthetically captivating, but even
Yeah.
then just barely more. I'm like,
Well,
this
that's
would
kind
be
of
cooler.
represented in the game too. Like infantry has a role for sure in the game, but it's primarily there as like ground holding units. Like
Mhm.
tanks are bad at holding ground, but really good at taking it, and the vice versa for infantry. And so like you can dig in infantry and make them all but unkillable to tanks, because tanks can't, like they can drive over them and not care that they're there most of the time, but they can't like dig them out of foxholes. So like the way you hit units in the game is based on their skill level. So like if you're shooting at a veteran unit, you would hit it on 5s. If you're shooting at a like conscript unit, you would hit it on 3s. And then if they are in cover, they get +1 through their defense. You hit them harder. And then if they're dug in, you get an additional +1. But then also being dug in means that if they shoot you with a gun, they have to make a firepower test to kill you, because you basically gain bulletproof cover is the term in the game. And so if I shoot you with a machine gun off my tank and you're a veteran, I hit you on 5s. But then if you're in cover, I hit you on 6s. If you're dug in, I hit you on 7s. So I can't hit you. Like if you're dug in cover, not moving, I can't hit you. So like my only option is to like basically move into combat with you and like close combat assault you. And so you could get like hard things like that.
And see, all of that sounds great.
Sounds great, but you don't like the concept of army men.
Well, yeah, it's really just, I don't, and maybe this is, it's what's weird is that I will sit and watch World War II documentaries or
Yeah.
or war films, or I will just watch like YouTube description of battle lines. I will do that for hours and enjoy myself learning about that kind of stuff. But recreating that on a tabletop, which is something I do all day long, is recreate things on tabletops. I don't know why. It just holds zero interest, and I don't know why. I feel like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm admitting that I don't know what's missing from that experience that I'm not getting. I don't know. I can't tell.
I think you'd like it if you tried it. I think a lot of it is the disconnect from, like, normally when you're viewing those things, you're either watching a historical instance where it's like, oh, this is how this happened, and you're interested because of the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as you get into a game, you're now controlling it. You have to come up with a strategy behind it. I think that's what kind of clicks it into gear, at least for me. I'm not personally overly interested in playing Army Men either. Like, obviously, there's the relevance of history and stuff, but for me, it's just like they just look like military tanks. Like as soon as you move into the realm of I'm just going to play it as opposed to experience history, it just there's a disconnect for me. Like I'm not interested in doing that on its face. I'd only be doing it because I thought the rules were good.
Yeah, the rules you're describing, like none of it's bad, but I think, like I said, if you just picked up the tank and put down a Lehman Russ, I would instantly be going, ooh, let me shoot the Lehman Russ. Like, let me do that. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would like to know if that orc war truck punched through my, Rhino's side armor. Like, that sounds fun. But for some reason, when you start, rattling off, acronyms and numbers and dashes, I start to just hear gray. I just start to hear waves. I'm just like, this is not exciting. Maybe if I just knew more about the settings, maybe I would actually, because I would know more about the nuances, the varieties of vehicles, the varieties of units and regiments and all these things. I would probably get more into it. And the fact that I know so much about the Crimson Fists as opposed to the Imperial Fists, as opposed to the Black Templars, and the fact that I know so much about them is definitely helping me engage with that game. So I'll probably just need more time with lore, but then there are games like Judgment where there's almost no lore, nearly zero, but the game is so tight and engaging that you don't need to give me models. Yeah. Sorry, you don't need to give me lore. I just need to play. I want to play.
The game that I would absolutely dabble my toes into if there was a group that played it, it's Kings of War.
I've heard good things from the guys in Arkansas because a lot of those guys play it, but I've never looked into it myself.
Kings of War, he says, that I've never heard of. I'm looking at it.
Wait, no, I'm thinking Man of War. What's it called? Kings of War is the Mantic game,
Mhm.
which I've also heard good things about. But I want to say it's a different one.
Kings of War. Is it? Oh, it's high.
Basically,
fantasy?
a Warhammer Fantasy
Yeah, it's
successor.
Age of Sigmar made by not GW.
Yeah.
Is the boiled down nugget of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the ones, Brandon, you may correct me if I'm wrong, that you can play with any models. You don't have to buy theirs. They sell some, but you can play, as long as you have a model that looks like it's supposed to, on the correct base size, and they base units. So if you have Goblin Spearmen, put between 1 and 15 Spearmen on this, 8 by 4 inch rectangular base, and that's your unit of Spearmen. And they sell that, or you could kit bash your GW Spearmen to be these, or whatever the case may be. I think that's Kings of War.
If I recall, it's either Kings of War or Man of War or something like that. I can't remember the name of the game exactly. But if it's the one I'm thinking, that's right. Where like you have a unit of spearmen, for example, and you don't take wounds off of them. They just gain wound markers as a unit.
Yeah.
And then you start making a test for them as the wounds increase, and it becomes more and more difficult the more wounds you've taken. And when you fail it's like a leadership test basically. They just get picked up. And so there is no removing casualties until the whole unit goes.
But
and
they,
so because
they
of that,
they
you
get
don't.
less combat effective, right? They like.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay.
I don't think so. But it's so instead of having individual models on bases, you'll just have a block of like he said 4x6 that has a smattering of guys glued to it in formation, and that's it. It's the whole unit as one piece. And so instead of having a movement tray, you'll just have a skid that your unit is on,
Yep.
and then you'll just move that around until it dies.
It's not fiddly, and my understanding is it's more position. It's a more positioning based game as opposed to say Sigmar or Conquest, which can be
It's not
weight of dice and or stacking buffs to achieve effects.
Yeah.
Look,
'Cause the
my
unit
las
has-
cannons with this buff and this buff and this buff. I auto hit you and wound on ones. Haha. So it's not that. It's all about, again, never having played it. Right. It's more about the positioning, which not fiddly and more positioning appeals to me as a strategic war game.
It's technically not rank and file because you don't have files and ranks, but it is a positional block movement game where you have to like wheel and turn and you have flanks and stuff.
Anyway.
I was looking at some of the models, and it looks like I can't tell if these are like dwarf characters or I think the dwarf characters are all riding dogs, but not like wolves, literal like cocker spaniels and golden retrievers, like it's like an Irish wolfhounds. At least this is the official models. Like you said, maybe they let you use whatever, but I just think it's kind of fun. I can't tell if they're halflings or dwarves, but they're like half men.
Those have to be halflings because I'm looking at the dwarves right now. I'm on Mantic Shop.
Okay.
The dwarves aren't writing anything.
Okay, so these must be like halflings, and that makes sense. Halflings ride dogs in D&D. It's like war dogs.
I see a halfling sorcerer on a cocker spaniel.
Yeah. I call cocker spaniel halflings.
Okay.
I was gonna say, do you just need a book? Like, do you just need a book and play? I guess.
I think it's the community he would be most interested in having.
Yeah.
The book
But
is
yes,
free.
in order to actually play, there's a free download to get started,
Mhm.
and then
A free
I've done
background book.
I've done a little bit of research. Like buy a starter set or an army for decent value, and then flesh it out how you want.
Mm.
Again, I haven't. Yeah, I only brought it up because you guys were talking about games you would be interested in playing.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one thing missing that automatically gets me in. You know what that is, right?
I don't.
Golems. If there are mystical golems, I'm in. It's just kind of an Achilles heel. You know, Kenny's is dinosaurs.
Yep.
Mine is golems. I don't know why, but if you put runes on it, I'm in. The only reason why I never played Circle in War Machine is they're the first and only golems that I thought were stupid. I did not like. They were the first ones ever, except for it was the Wold Guardian, the one with the giant like piston hands, like the really like stubby one. I think that's what it was called. That one I thought was super cool, but that was like the fourth one that came out.
Guardian,
yeah. I really really like that one. That's the kind I like. I like the stubby rock monsters. I don't know what it is about that aesthetic, but I'm in. And they have that in Malediction. They have a rune golem thing. So
No, King's War just has a greater Earth elemental. Sorry, you're out.
greater earth elemental. Well, now
Trash.
you had
Not Gollum.
you had my curiosity. Now you
Not a
have
Gollum.
my interest.
Forces of Nature is their army for that stuff.
Okay, well,
I think the
now-
models look a little derpy, but
Mhm.
they are the right price. Ish.
Oh, you're right. There are elementals. Yeah, that greater earth elemental is my bag.
Okay.
That's pretty freaking cool.
I would play something I could paint in medium-sized scale, so probably one of like the demon factions.
Hmm I
That'd be
do
my
like the
jam.
orc models. I think the orcs are kind of cool. Interesting. That's good to know. Aaron would dabble in this.
I would at least look forward to a demo. How about that? That's where I'll draw the line.
I don't think I saw it. Was this? I'm sure that there was somewhere in Adepticon, but I never.
Oh, I'm sure. I've seen like a 30 or 40 person tournament at Melee at Shiloh, which is in Arkansas, a couple times when we went down for War Machine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty popular down there. Basically, when Fantasy was killed by GW, there was like 4 different games that tried to pick it up as like and continue on. And so King's War was one, 9th edition was one, which was like a fan based rule set. There was One Page Rules, I believe, made one, and there was another one as well. And then also Age of Sigmar tried to convert their community over into Age of Sigmar. And so there's like 4 or 5 different games that everyone was kind of getting into, and different regions kind of decided on different games. It looks like Kings of War was the one in our general area, or at least a little bit to the south of us, that people started playing. And so most of the people that played Fantasy down there switched over to Kings of War. But yeah, I do miss playing Warhammer Fantasy. The rank and file was cool, but I liked the concept of like the magic. It was really the setting. I think the Warhammer Fantasy Old World setting was one of the coolest settings because they had a great mix of different races. Like 40K has got a decent number of unique races. Like Space Marines aren't exactly unique in any way, but Necrons are pretty cool, even though they're like, autonomous robots isn't particularly unique. But it's good, right? Like it's got a good smattering of stuff, the Xenomorphs, all that stuff. But Old World was like, in my opinion, the ultimate dark fantasy setting. Not dark fantasy, but like grim dark fantasy.
Mhm.
I love the way they did the dwarves, where they're all rune inspired and grudgy and mean and boding and all that stuff. And then you had the vampire accounts was like the ultimate like Ravenloft setting, and then all that stuff mixed together. The lizardmen were cool, the Skaven were cool. All the races really just kind of filled their niche, and it was a great setting to have all those things kind of just broiling around each other. And I really enjoyed that. And I just don't think there's been another fantasy setting that's brought all that together in such a good way.
Warhammer came first, right, in the history of the game, right?
Yeah,
It was-
that was the first thing they did for
Mhm.
Games Workshop, I believe.
Or at least the earliest thing, earlier than
Mhm.
the 40K.
Yeah, and then Rogue Trader was the sci-fi startup, and then they
Mm.
converted that into Warhammer 40,000. All right, are you guys ready to do Mojo World?
Oh yeah.
Better jump on it before it's too late. All right, this week on Mojo World, we have muscle/sports cars. I can't imagine this is going to go poorly.
I think everyone will agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
All right, I only wrote down 3. If anybody takes them, I quit.
Ditto.
I assume Aaron is the same.
I wrote down 4, but I could probably come up with 3 more if I had to. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have to. I think we're going to be very in different worlds on this.
Okay.
All right, so I'm first this week, followed by Aaron, and then then by Parker, then by Aaron. Let me fix that. All right, first up for me, I'm gonna go with the 1969 Camaro. Was that one of yours?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
But I have one from 1969, which made me a little nervous at
Ooh.
first. Mine is also from 1969, but it's another Camaro. That's actually
Okay,
my 4th
you're
choice,
up.
though. It might not come up.
You're up.
I have to pick my favorite car in the whole world. If I had infinite money, I would get a 2001 Mazda RX-7.
Ooh.
One of the only production cars to feature the rotary engine. They sounded like airplanes, and they are so fucking cool.
I mean, they sound like they have a rotary engine.
Right.
I don't know if they sound like all airplanes.
No.
A lot of
but-
airplanes don't have rotary engines anymore, but I appreciate that.
Shut up. They're cool. Don't make fun of my favorite car.
Sir, do you know what a jet engine is?
Shut
Anyway,
up.
moving on. Aaron, you get back-to-back choices.
Okay. We need to clarify that
Minibus.
I
Minibus.
am the antithesis to the concept of a sports car.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with the one that I would actually see myself purchasing at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Kia EV6 GT.
Interesting. A Kia.
What year?
2025. Why not?
All right.
That makes perfect sense for you. I'm just looking at it.
I'm honestly surprised that was such a good pick. I don't even know what that car is, but the fact that it has GT in the name means we're closer than I thought we'd be.
Yeah, I mean,
0 to 60 in 3.2. Which I think
it's an electric car,
I
right?
think it's
That's what
fast.
the EV means.
yeah,
it is,
it's
yes.
electric. It's an electric little sports car. Yeah.
It's an electric sports car. Yep.
Yeah.
My second one is going to be if I had. I mean, I assume I could actually buy that at some point. I won't, but I could. If I wake up with I was gonna say an extra $1 million, but it has to be more than that. A lot more than that. My other car that I'd buy is a Porsche Taycan.
How do you spell Taycan?
Taycan.
Cyan?
No, not the Cyan. The Taycan.
The Cayenne?
Taycan.
Spelled again?
Tay.
Tay.
Can.
What year?
2025.
The man likes his new cars. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I wonder if anyone's been able to tell who instantly what all of us are. I know this about you because we've talked cars, but I wonder if anybody else knows this about you. This is fun.
All right, Parker, you're up.
I'm going to go with the 1993 Toyota Supra. I love me the Supra.
Is that the one from Fast and the Furious?
Not exact. I don't know if it's that year, but it is this. It's the same
Same
generation.
body.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
generation.
Nice. That's a good pick.
I love the look of that car.
Do I have to go now?
Yeah, I'm the middle one,
All
right?
right.
I'm second. I'm second rung.
All right. I will finish this up. We're gonna go with 1969 Ford Mustang. I'm gonna be the most boring person on the planet. It was the best year for cars.
You did another 1969. You somehow missed my second.
It's the best year for cars.
I cannot believe that you said two 1969s. It's not my 1969.
For my third pick, the 1969 Dodge Charger.
Oh my god, you did it! That's awesome. Now I feel like I have to complete the set with my
year.
1969.
69.
Yeah, 69.
No, get your own shit. You're like the 92 to 2000, and
Okay.
Aaron's the new stuff.
Okay.
Fucking stay in your lane.
I'll keep in my lane. My last pick is the 1989 Porsche 911.
Oh, this is gonna be fun because it's gonna be 911. This will be great.
Yeah, that's tragic naming, but can't take it back now. That's what they call the car.
You should buy the 2001 911.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna
Bad
put
joke.
it. I'm putting it.
Don't get us flagged for this bullshit.
Parker, we're already flagged. All right, Aaron, what's your final 2025 pick?
This is a little bit of a stretch, just a little bit, but I have wanted this car for so long, and I say car loosely, but it's the 2025 Polaris Slingshot R.
Parker, would you like to veto the motorcycle that he's trying to pick?
Or Autocycle.
Oh my gosh.
I have actively looked at buying a house with a 3-car garage just so I can buy one of these.
Mm-hmm. Well, soon, your kids will be out, and you can just park it in between your 2 cars, right? Actually, you could just get a smart car, and then they'd fit in the same slot. I'm actually surprised you don't own a smart car with how freaking efficiency conscious you are.
Dang it, I feel really bad because the fact that I now know this about you makes me so happy that this is something you actually want, because it's such a goofy ass. This is the Smurber of sports cars. Just you couldn't say anything normal. You had to pick something.
Butter. I like bread. I don't see what the problem is.
So it's so.
Maybe butter is my favorite food.
It's not a sports car in any way, though. No one thinks that. It's not classified like that. ever.
It is classified as a bike, right?
Yeah, it's a three-wheeled motor. It's classified as a three-wheeled motorcycle.
Depends on the state you're in.
I guess federally is what it's classified as. But
What state
you're
are
right.
you in, Aaron?
A state
How
of
do they define it?
a state of shock and dismay right now.
What is it called? A slingshot?
Yeah, slingshot. Polaris slingshot.
You lucky you caught me on the third beer.
Wow, you're gonna give it to him? Okay.
I'm gonna give it to him.
We're gonna let the internet roast me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mainly why I want to see the fallout.
I mean, look at the lineup of all 5 of them, like next to each other, like parked on a bridge. How is it not a fucking sports car-ish
I'm a
thingy?
big fan of the car. There are 3-wheeled cars, which is why it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's technically a cycle because of the internals.
It is an auto cycle. It is what it is technically.
Yeah. For people who don't know, it's the 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back motorcycle.
Right.
It's just the Batmobile.
Yeah, it's not because it isn't.
If it came apart,
Basically is.
I would say it's the Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Batmobile
Speaking
has
of-
the 2 wheels on one side come off. This wouldn't work like that, but I see your point.
So the Batman Returns when like the sides split off and it becomes a train, and they drive through the 2 buildings in the alleyway. Do you remember this?
Yes, I think I remember this.
The Michael Keaton Batman Returns.
Yes,
and
how
like
the
two
sides came off and it
split
became
off,
like
and
a-
it shrinks down to like a train.
Right. A train. It's not. I see your point.
It's a train.
It
It
looks
literally
like
is
a
a train.
train.
If you look
right.
at it, it's a train.
It does look like
I own
a
the
train.
toy in the side.
I
club.
know
It looks
exactly
like a
what
train.
toy you're talking about. Yes.
I know, yeah. So there's a tank in Flames of War Leviathans, which is like the fantasy version of Flames of War, which is what if the war had continued
Mhm.
and the tanks that were in development saw action. There's a tank called the Tortoise, I believe, and it's a really weird looking assault gun tank, and it's designed the same way. For it to fit on a rail car, it's wider than a rail car, so it's a double tracked vehicle. There's 2 treads on each side. The outer treads detach so that it can fit on a train car,
Mm.
and you can drive it around, and then you can reattach the treads when you get where you're going. It just reminds me of the Batmobile.
That is one of the things about Flames of War that would be interesting to me is
Mhm.
you could get into those historical stories of how people were like, how the fuck do we get this thing across a bridge? Well, we could just
Mhm.
install a bridge on the tank. Like
What
weird
if we just made the tank out of bridges?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, "Ugh."
Yeah, it's just like weird things that people actually tried. Like that would be cool about Flames of War.
Yeah.
But this is not cool. Saying a Polaris Slingshot is a car is not cool. But that's
So uncool.
we're going to. I've been outvoted, and for the first time ever, I think it took the sports car category for me to finally get outvoted. Is clearly it's not.
I actually feel bad for my choices, but they are my choices, and so I feel like I should defend them. I like a certain kind of car, and like all of the kinds of cars that came out in '69. It's not my fault.
No, I don't think you should defend it. I think it's perfectly fine. You like that aesthetic.
Yeah.
I love the '90s aesthetic. Clearly, so my 1969 car was not one of yours. It was the Corvette Stingray.
Yeah, which is a great car. It was number 4 on my list as well. It was number 4 on both of our lists.
Yeah,
which is funny. But I do want to point out that you're the black sheep, Parker.
Oh yeah,
you're the only one picked more than 1 year of cars.
That's true. That's true. I'm the weird one. That's right.
You're so weird. You like more than 1 year of vintages?
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah, fucking weirdo. You like the decade instead of 1 year, the oldest one or the newest one.
Can I tell you my favorite joke at the game store right now? I love getting people with this. So do you know what had just came out in 40K? You probably don't because you haven't been to the store in the last few days.
No, I don't.
It was there all weekend. The Emperor's Children, the Slanesh.
Oh, yeah.
40K
I saw
army.
those.
Yeah, it's been on the new release wall.
Yeah.
And so as people go over there and they'll pick them up, they'll start browsing the model kits. If I know them and I know that I can get away with a joke with them, I'll walk up and was like, I didn't know you liked your children that new. And they're like, ugh. And then they put the models down. They're like, oh no. And then I follow them around the store. It's like, did you know this guy likes young children?
The newest ones.
It's great.
Only.
I love it.
Okay.
It's so funny.
Speaking of this, before we go, and I know we gotta go, but I said I had to put this on the cast. Something amazing happened to Aaron, at Melee for Midian.
Wait, is his name Perrin Aaron?
No, I'm referring to Aaron.
Okay.
Something happened to Perrin, and Aaron, you
because
didn't.
Perrin's his middle name.
Aaron, I don't think you were there for it, but it was tremendous. Perrin got assassinated, straight up shivved.
Yeah. He was there. I told him.
Oh, it was amazing. For the rest of the
It
world,
was a good one.
So I am sitting there minding my own business. Perrin's sitting there minding my own business. And
I almost did it earlier, but I didn't because his guard was up, and I knew it was up,
Exactly.
so I waited.
Brandon came in on a stealth fucking helicopter, dropped some Delta Force
I
behind
had a
enemy
Barrett
lines.
50 cal from
Oh
like
my
quarter
God.
mile away.
It was awesome. Just go ahead and just lay out the joke, and I'll do my very best in my mind's eye to make sure people know how we just slowly pan to you.
Are you gonna stab yourself in the stomach? Or?
No, it was perfect. Just say the joke. Go for it.
I mean, I've said this before, I'm pretty sure, but
I don't think so.
He was standing there, and he was like just finished packing up his bottles, and he was tired. They just played like 3 rounds of Judgment, and it's been a long day. And I just kind of looked at Perrin as like because we were talking about where to go for dinner. It's like, hey, did you know there's a German cuisine that is a bratwurst made up of smaller sausages? And he kind of like looks up to the left and goes, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool." And like as he opens his mouth to ask a question about it, I say, "Yeah, it's the worst of the worst." And Parker loved it more than anyone.
Assassinated, taken out behind the shed, and murdered. It was so awesome watching his slow realization.
He was not very happy.
Of oh no, I just got ruined. Oh man, I was just crying. I don't think I've ever seen one of those jokes land so surprisingly and so hard on someone. Just like absolutely a ton of bricks. It was perfect.
I think the hardest I've ever hooked anyone is still Jeremy with the limousine joke. I think he was ready to literally call the police. Like he was upset. But in the spirit of Jeremy refusing to ever come on the podcast again, I have a joke for Jeremy. Do you know what makes sharks so funny? They're fluent in sharkasm.
Ooh.
You don't like that one? I think that's a good one.
Okay, that'll be your secret. I'm not a fan. The first one got me though. Makes up. You can. This one could be a C plus. That one, the first one was
C plus.
This first one,
C
that
plus
first one was
plus.
S plus plus.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed Parker's dad jokes.
That's not my dad jokes.
This has been Brandon
and Parker
and Aaron,
and you've just listened to The Worst of the Worst.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.